Hi guys, today we are going to learn about file handling. So you know what are the different types of files. We can briefly say file is a stream of characters. Is a stream of characters. So we have two categories of files: text files as well as binary files. And today we are going to see how to handle the text files. So Java, in a package called java.io, we have file, and in that file we have different classes. So to create a file, the constructor of the file, every file is described or indicated by a descriptor. We can say file descriptor. And for example, you want to create a text file, let us say. So with graphical user interface, we go to certain folder and we create new, and if you want a new file text document, we give some name, so xyz, and this is xyz dot text, and whatever you want to type, you can type. This is the file handling class. So this is what we do in graphical user interface. The same thing we can do with Java, that is that we call as file handling. So first of all, let us learn how to create a file in Java. So creating a file in Java using Java, in other words. So remember, every file is indicated by a descriptor. So the command which we are going to use is something like this. Let me put it on notepad. Let me save it with Java name so that the syntax will be highlighted, though it is not needed. Okay, so the every file descriptor fd is new file. Let us say I want to create a file with the name file123.txt with extension. So here I am referring this file 123.txt with a descriptor called fd. This I am only taking a reference, but actually I didn't create the file. To create a file, what I need to do is the file descriptor dot create new file. This is how we can create a new file. This is how we create a new file. So in this file class, we have different methods. So methods in file class, we can, just now we have seen create new file, that is a method to create a new file. Then if you want to create a directory, then boolean, DOS commands, make dir it creates to create a directory or a folder. Suppose you want to check whether a given object is a file or not, then boolean is file. Then fourth one is boolean again is directory, to check whether given string is directory or not. Then you can have the length of the file by using length. It will return the length of the file. Then if you want to delete, and if you want to list out all the files in the directory, then we have list method, which actually returns a string, Then if you want to compare two different files, we can use compare to, which returns an integer, and here you will pass the file name, it will return integer. So now let us make it very simple. To create a new file, first we create a file descriptor, then we use to create a physical file, we can use this file descriptor dot create a new file. So after creating a file, we want to write something. Into the file. For example, I want to write some character data. So Java provides us another class called file writer class. So the purpose of this objects of this class is to write the character data into a file. So let us see what is the constructor. The constructor of this class, there are two constructors. One is file writer FW, maybe name is equal to new file writer. You can specify the file name directly. This is one way, one constructor. Another constructor is file writer FW is equal to new. Instead of writing the file name, we can always indicate the file instead of the name with the descriptor. Just like you have a roll number, instead of name, most of the faculty would be using the roll numbers to call the attendance. So similarly, every file can have a descriptor, the file FD. So these two are the constructors. And apart from this, we have some more, but let us see one example before we go further. Now let us this is a package info. Let me create a class here. So class, open new class. Let us say I want file writer demo. So because all this file handling is in java.io package, I will be importing java.io.star so that I can have these files, objects of all this file class. So the main method. Now let us create a file. File FD, the file descriptor, is equal to new file maybe I will call it as my file dot txt, my file dot txt. Then I will create it, right? So fd dot create new file. So this step, now it is saying me to handle the exception. So it is a checked exception. So what I have to do is I can use throws keyword, throws IO exception. So now this will create a file. So let me execute this. There is nothing in the console, there is nothing. But if I go to my folder where I am working presently in the project, so there is a file called myfile.txt. There is nothing in that file, it is completely empty. So what we have seen is how to create a file. That's what we have seen just now. So we are not happy with that. Let us go further. Let us try to write something. To write some character data into file, we have file writer class. So let us create an object of a file writer class. Create a file writer object to write data into file. So let us create a file writer object, file writer. Let us call it as fw aptly is equal to new file writer. To which file? Now we have seen two constructors, right? We have seen two constructors. One is I can mention the file name directly, or I can mention the file descriptor. So here I have two options. I can write fd or I can write myfile.txt. So let us go with this convention. Let us take fd, and we have created the file writer object, and the method of file writer object is write method, which we will be using. I will discuss it later. So the method is write method. So fw dot write, it will write only character data. So let us write hello, this is file handling in Java. This is file handling in Java. Then after that, it is always better, remember, to close the file using the writer fw dot, you can use fd dot close, fw dot close. We will see the differences later. So let me close this file and execute this program. There is nothing here, but when you go to my file is showing the text hello, this is file handling in Java. So what did we learn? We learned how to create a file, then how to write data into file. So suppose what happens, for example, once already file is there, or actually this file writer has a facility of creating a new file itself. So I need not use this one fd dot create new file, because my file 1.txt, and here when I am creating file writer object, obviously the file also will be created. So I need not explicitly create it. So let us see this now. So it obviously will create my file 1, which already has the data, my hello, this is file handling. Now let me add some more to this. This is my channel, Now let me run this again. So what is happening? The earlier text has gone. Now this is again, earlier text has gone. This is showing the new text. Suppose I don't want to do that. I don't want to erase. That means every time you write, you create a file handler, the earlier text will be gone, erased. So if you don't want to do that, the constructor that can be used, the constructor that can be used is, beside the file name or the file descriptor, you can use the Boolean append. If it is true, it will append the data. If it is false, it will overwrite the data. So to avoid overwriting of the data, we can use the similar constructors. The only difference is here beside this Boolean append. This append value is either true or false. If you mention true, it will avoid overwriting. If you mention false, it will overwrite the data. So for example, now I want to add the data. I don't want to erase the previous data. So what I will do here? FD comma true. FD comma true. Now here I will give another text. Now let me execute this. Let me see what is there in the text. If you see here, already that earlier text is there and this was appended. So we created a file, we have written the data. Now before we close, let us see what are the methods in file writer, so that you can explore further file writer class. The methods, we have write method. This write method takes an integer as a parameter, that is the character. I will demonstrate that. Write a character array, that is another method. Character array, that is a string, you know that. Then third one, write string. Yes, these are the write methods. Apart from that, to write till the last bit, you have a flush method, and after that you have a close method. So let us see what are these methods involved. So before we write, so let me include /n here for new line and here a /n for a new line. F dot write, then first of all, first method. What is the first method? Integer character. So what I do is, I will write 97 and I will write 98 and I will write 99 and I will write 100. So let us see what it will print. 98, 99 and finally 100. So what it will print, let us see in our file. Run this file and see the my file, and here we have ABCD. That means it has printed Unicode, ASCII code. 97 small a, 98 small b, 99 small c, 100 d. So if you want to use characters, it will print the corresponding. If you use integer, it will print corresponding character. Suppose I want to write fw dot write character array, that is let us define a character array. Ja a comma v comma okay, that's enough. So let us write ch. Why it is showing me? Yeah. So let me see ABCD. After that, Java character array is printed. Now let me print a string with that. So fw dot write, that is give the directly the string. This is a string. Let me put my, that's what we have given in first sentence also. We have directly given a string directly. Then we are using fw dot close. So we can close fd dot close, or we can write fw dot close, but fw dot close will automatically implicitly closes fd. So it's always better to write the file writer rather than file descriptor, and you can use fw dot flush, so that it will be written till the last character. You know the meaning of flush, right? So let me see. So this is a string. So in this class we learned how to create a file, how to add or how to write the data using file writer. In the next class we will learn how to read the data from a file.